All right, good evening, everyone. I'm going to call this May 4th Planning and Zoning Board meeting to order. Time is approximately 6 p.m. And the first item of business is the approval of the agenda. What is the pleasure of the board?
Approve as presented.
Second.
We have a motion that's moved and properly seconded. Any discussion on the agenda? Any from the public? Seeing none, all those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Motion passes unanimous. All right, all rise for the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. All right, there's nothing on the consent agenda. We do have a pretty heavy slate of items tonight, so I'll just try to ask if comments from public and the dais can be just ones that are additive, I guess, to the conversation without being too duplicitous, so we can try to get everybody out of here at a reasonable time frame, but without rushing or going over anything that needs to be addressed. First thing I'm going to do is let's call it a bulk quasi-judicial swearing in. So anybody that's going to be coming forward as a petitioner, as staff, or participants speaking on the particular items that are before us, we'll do one swearing in altogether. So as we enter into the quasi-judicial procedure, this means that the board will stop being a legislative board and become a judicial board, which means that we have to follow certain rules and adhere to a different standard of decision-making. The primary rule we must follow concerns testimony, and the substantial and competent evidence standard must be met when the district board makes a decision. This standard states the following, quote, all public testimony will be taken under oath. Everyone testifying will be subject to cross-examination. All documents and exhibits shall be entered into evidence. The giving of opinion testimony is limited to experts. Closing arguments will be limited to the evidence of record. At this point, I'm going to have the attorney swear in any one of the aforementioned parties that will be speaking tonight. Please stand, raise your right hand.
And I will read a statement, and after I do that, if you will answer in the affirmative. Do you swear or affirm that the evidence that you will give in connection with the petition tonight is the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth? I do. Okay, very good.
All right, thank you, Madam Attorney. Before we begin, I'm also going to ask all of the members of the board to disclose any ex parte communications and disclose whether any member physically inspected the properties. Ex parte communications are any conversations or transmission of information that may have bearing or influence on any voting member's decision. We'll start on my far right. Ms. Parker?
No.
Ms. Thomas?
No.
Ms. Carey?
Besides driving by every day to my house, no.
I agree. All right. Okay. Thank you. And I myself do not either, and I'm a non-voting member anyway. So, okay. We have a certain order of presentations that we will go through tonight for each of these items. The first one up to bat is the SRM concrete batch plant, and we will proceed with the staff overview to begin with.
Thank you, Mr. Chair and Mayor. This is John Paul Perez with the Community Development Department. I'm just waiting for the presentation to come up. Oh, okay, cool. Awesome. This is forward? Okay. Thank you. So the recommended motion for tonight, or I should start with what the request is. Site and development plan for the SRM, which stands for Smyrna Ready Mixed Concrete Batch Plant. And this is an item that's come before this board on many occasions. This is the final public hearing process that they need to go through. They've been here for a land use zoning, their special use permit, and now finally the site and development plan. The recommended motion is to recommend approval of the petition with staff's recommended conditions. Since this is a site and development plan, it also needs to be approved by the City Commission. And those dates are forthcoming and will be advertised publicly. I'm sorry. This is, that's not the aerial. That's showing the next project, actually, the Norfleet small scale batch plant. And, but the information on the left-hand side is correct. There's a site plan. Cool. So the parcel is 01897-004-000. It's one of the last out parcels from the 41 Commerce Park that is connected to it, but wasn't part of the initial development. SRM has identified this property for its access to rail, as well as its incorporation into an existing industrial park. The site that they're located on is approximately 9.6 acres, and currently there was a mobile home. I believe it's been removed already. And the proposed batch plant, which you can see on this site plan here, which is they go in, they fill up, and then they leave. There is a place to store vehicles overnight. There's a place to store aggregate. There's a small drain field in the center of the property. And at the northwest corner of the property, it touches the southeast part of Avalon Woods. For that reason, they've located some stormwater there to create a little interior buffer from that particular area, as well as providing more robust landscaping in that area as well, to provide a visual screen, which is also included in one of staff's recommended conditions, should this be adopted. So this is ingress and egress here. This is all new. Right now it's unpaved in this particular area. And so they will be using, I guess that's me with the cursor. Sorry about that. I didn't realize this thing was, it was driving me nuts. I'm sorry. So this is the primary ingress and egress. So this is where all the vehicles will be entering and leaving the site. They'll go in. Here you can see the traffic markings showing the traffic flow. And this is something that we had them add in case there are visitors to the site. For whatever reason, they know which way to go because it wasn't really clear without the traffic markings. Here you can see a majority of where the operations will be occurring, all concrete. And you can see generally their flow of traffic coming into the site and getting the trucks filled and then leaving the site to go to the jobs. This is one of the elevations of some of the equipment. There are additional equipment sheets in the application package, the agenda item. And that generally completes my my presentation. We did find it consistent with the comprehensive plan, the land development regulations, as well as the special use permit that was approved. And the conditions are, the first one is just advisory as part of this process, since it's abutting to and previously accessed from county property and right away. We did route it to them. They had a look at it. They said that based on the types of chemicals that they use on site, their regulations may apply. They don't necessarily have a formal process for it, so we're just making them aware that that exists. So they do address that at the appropriate time. Dark sky friendly lighting as always, and landscaping at the northwest corner must be established and maintained. The applicant is here. They do not have a presentation, but they're available to answer any questions you may have. Thank you.
Thank you, John Paul. Anyone, excuse me, anyone from the public have any comment? You have 3 minutes to do so. Going once, going twice. Okay. Does the applicant have anything that they wish to refute or contest that was presented by staff? No? Okay. I'll bring it to the dais to ask questions of staff, or the applicant is standing by if you had any. No questions? No questions?
I had one for staff. I didn't know if you guys had got my email. Yes, okay. I believe 2 approvals before, when we did their first initial one before the special permit, there was a noise consideration, and they were possibly going to be looking at a lighting instead of a loud horn at
Yeah.
6 in the morning going off, because that would be audible to the neighboring neighborhood, which some of us live in, Newberry Oaks. So I was wondering if that was looked into, because I didn't see that as any presentation other than they're keeping logs of noise.
Correct, yeah. So let me defer to them. I had a chance to respond to your email. I said that it was included in the presentation to the board, but nothing was formally required of them at that time. So if that is a consideration of the board, now would be an appropriate time for the board to add that as a condition that that be required. At the moment, it's not required.
Does the applicant care to address that? Thank you, sir. Just introduce yourself.
Sir?
Just introduce yourself
I'm
first.
Brandon Bishop. I'm the general manager for SRM Concrete from Lake City to Wildwood. So what you're looking at with the horn issue, we don't really even do that anymore on most of my plants. All the new ones come with the dust shroud that has a light extended in front of the truck. It's a strobing light. As soon as the ticket's done, the load's done, the light strobes. We don't blow the horn. All right?
Very good.
Thank you for clarification.
Excellent. So, no final argument or anything like that, I assume? Okay. If there's no further deliberations, does anyone from the board have a motion?
Motion to approve.
Okay. Ms. Parker and Ms. Thomas have the motion. Motion's been moved and properly seconded. If there's no further deliberations, Ms. Attorney, could you please advise the board of the factual finding and applicable law, please?
Yes, board members, you need to find that all of the requirements of the code have been met and base your decision on competent substantial evidence that's presented to you, either verbally or in the packet in your backup.
Very good. With that in mind, all those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Motion passes unanimous. All right. Moving on to number 2, Site and Development Plan, Norfleet Batch Plant. This is also quasi judicial, and I'll invite staff up to do the overview.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Mayor John Paul Perez, again with the Community Development Department. Remarkably similar request is a site and development plan for the Norfleet Concrete Batch Plant. We got the right aerial on this one. This too has been before the board multiple times for land use, zoning, as well as a special use permit. Our recommended motion is to recommend approval of the petition with staff's recommended conditions, and any future hearing before the city commission will be advertised publicly. This is the south 50 acres of Norfleet property, including a approximately 4 acre appendage that's being utilized for access only at the moment, or at least proposed. Current owners are Edward Dudley Norfleet III as trustee, Edward and Phyllis Dudley Norfleet Jr., Katrina Bill. And the property is approximately 54 acres, as explained. Right now, it's just cropland, and a ready-mix concrete plant is proposed in this area. This is the proposed site and development plan, where you can see they're accessing the site on an existing driveway from US 2741. And that's in the FDOT right away, so future permitting and possibly requirements from FDOT will be forthcoming. In discussions on this project, aligning it with 24th Avenue was a no-go per the engineer of record because of misalignment of those and the existing building preventing from a road being constructed in that particular area. And the separation between existing driveways may not be possible, given they were going to be so close to each other. Here's a close-up of the actual operation of the property. I just want to go back to this one real quick. You can see that there's future subdivision that is proposed for the area that'll be forthcoming in the form of a plat, but at this time, we're not requiring platting for them to proceed with the site plan. And so very remarkably similar, the vehicles will come in, they will fill up. There's a drainage pit, there's an aggregate area I want to show on this one to the northwest, which is going to be pretty open, kind of similar or remarkably similar to the Watson property in 41 Commerce right now, where there'll be aggregate openly stored. The site is all gravel, including the road. There's a condition that addresses this. That interior access road should be a paved road, but because they're anticipating water and sewer becoming available to the site soon, we've just pushed off that requirement to a later time when they have an opportunity to install those water and wastewater lines, so they're not paving and then demoing and then paving again. As a matter of sequence of construction, it just is more affordable and logical. Just wanted to show the existing driveway and some of the turning movements that were occurring there. Sorry with that cursor. And you can see some of the right-ins, the right-outs potentially, and then the passive lefts that would be occurring in that particular area could lead to a little confusion. We'll lean on FDOT District 2 to work out any bugs that they see in their right-of-way as far as traffic goes. Staff did find it consistent with the comprehensive plan, land development regulations, and the approved special use permit. We are recommending approval with the conditions you see on the screen here. I'm available for any questions. If you have any, the applicant hasn't prepared a presentation. They are here as well to answer any questions you may have. Thank you.
Okay. The applicant does not have one? Is that what you said? Okay, all right, very good. And does the public have any comment on this? Come on down. You'll have 3 minutes. Just introduce yourself before you get
Yes,
started.
thank you, Mr. Mayor and board members. My name is Peter McDaniel. I am the owner of the property, 94 acres to the south of this. And I just wanted to interject. This is we were at the original meeting when it was first being proposed. The staff recommended a high berm, right? We're going to have some sort of residential near this industrial. So, and that was what was discussed originally. And I'm not sure in the process, but I just wanted to make sure that we're putting some sort of residential there, and there's a thought about having something that's an earthen berm, and I don't know exactly where it stands in that, but I just wanted to put that on the table for everybody. Obviously, we want something, we just want something reasonable for our development, so that's it.
Okay,
Thank you.
thank you, sir. Any other public comment? Seeing none. I assume the applicant and the staff have nothing to cross-examine each other about at this point, lay rest. Okay, and then I'll bring it back to the board. Does anyone from the dais have any questions of staff or the applicant? Ms. Parker?
Is there a buffer or berm in place? I'm looking at the site plan trying to find that area.
What's the plan? What's the plan?
So, great question. Yeah, there was also an intention to provide that as for sound attenuation. That didn't make it into the final plan. I'll defer to the applicant and the engineer record for a response to that question. Thank you.
Come on, Mr. Chris.
Good evening, Chris Potts with LJ Engineering. So yes, we had the sound study does not require the berm. And right now there's an existing 25-foot buffer with existing trees and vegetation that's going to remain the same as far as providing buffers. And the distance from this plant to the neighboring residential is a similar distance as the SRM plant to the neighboring residential. So they're close to about 300 feet apart.
So I get that, and I'm just gonna kind of talk to you here. But they are putting a pond, a retention area between them to add additional, and then adding shrubbery or trees as an additional buffer. And I remember that conversation as well. There was supposed to be a berm or a significant buffer there. So I'm wondering how or why that got dropped.
Well, the buffer is still there, and the buffer meets the land development code regulations. So there's a berm as far as vegetation is going to be there, but not a physical raised. Adding a berm has a chance of killing the existing oak trees that are on the property.
Is it pretty dense forest between the two?
Yes, but it'll also be enhanced as well to comply with the city LDRs.
So you'll be adding additional
Plantings.
planting and buffer.
Correct.
Okay.
Now, there's, And there's not currently residents south of that
No.
at all. Is
It's-
that your property? Okay. Okay. Gotcha. Okay. All right, Madam Attorney, are there any other questions of staff or the applicant? Madam Attorney, please advise the board of the applicable law and factual findings.
And I think I'll do this as you did, Mayor, the group swearing in. I'll
wanna
say it
talk.
once because I think you all will remember it for all the remaining petitions. Again, you're to find that it meets the requirement of the code and the comprehensive plan and base your decision on the competent substantial evidence provided either verbally or in your packet.
All right. We have the recommended motion on the screen. At this time, does anyone from the board wish to make a motion?
I'll motion as presented, accept as presented.
We have a motion and we have Ms. Thomas on the second. If there's no further deliberations, all those in favor, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Motion passes unanimous. Okay. Moving right along. Number 3, LDR 2426, the rezoning Countryway 2. Petition amending the zoning map by changing the zoning category from ag to PRD on parcel identified as 02539-001-00. Madam Attorney, you need to read anything else into the record? Okay. Ms. Yetter, you have the floor on this one, huh?
Yes, thank you, Mr.
Fire
Mayor.
away. Go ahead.
Lauren Yetter, Community Development. Let's see. Oh. So just a reminder, this is a petition LDR 24-26 for a rezoning of 160 acres, more or less, Countryway 2. And also just as a reminder, the board has seen this item once before. The future land use was amended back in 2025. And it was because it's surpassed that 50-acre threshold, it's a large-scale amendment. So not only was it reviewed by the PCB, but it was also transmitted to the state, reviewed by state agencies, DOT, DEP, Water Management District, before it was formally adopted by the board, or the city commission, in 2025. So the question under consideration is, does the Planning and Zoning Board find petition LDR 2426 to be consistent with the city's comprehensive plan and land development regulations? So staff finds this petition is consistent with the comp plan and land development regulations. Overview of the request, again, it's a rezoning from agricultural to planned residential development. The property is generally located at the southwest corner of Southwest 15th Avenue and Southwest 234th Terrace, about a half mile east of State Road 45. And here's the general area. So that's the parcel number. The applicant is NV5. Owner is Countryway 2 LLC. And again, the proposed zoning is planned residential development. Current zoning is agricultural. And again, the question to consider is the petition consistent with the city's comprehensive plan and LDRs or land development regulations? If yes, the PZB could approve the petition. If no, deny the petition, or you could continue to a date and time certain if more information is required. And the applicant is here to present also.
Okay. Chris, you presenting? Oh, Jerry. Oh, you're in V5, that's right.
Okay, I'll see if I can make this work. Okay, that's how I get the pointer. All right, I'll take my cues from JP. All right, good evening, Mr. Mayor, members of the Planning and Zoning Board, Madam Attorney, Mr. Manager. My name is Jerry Diedenbach. I am an AICP certified planner, have been for about 30 years now, and I am here to present a quasi-judicial item, the rezoning of what we're calling Countryway 2. As you can see in the aerial that's on the screen before you, this is the quarter section that is immediately to the east of Countryway. And as you can see in here, there are some good tree lines in here which influence our design, which you'll see brought forward into the PD master plan for this. As staff stated, we conducted a large-scale land use amendment on this because this was over 50 acres, and so this was reviewed by the state of Florida, which includes, of course, the Department of Transportation, Department of Education, Environmental Protection, Water Management District, and all. This land previously had on it a mixed-use land use, and we reduced that to putting on here low-density residential land use. This shows you, that's interesting. Yeah, this just shows you nothing. There we go. Well, sort of, but that's not what's supposed to be happening. Maybe we need to reload the presentation. But our process here, and we'll see if it gives us problem on future slides. We held a pre-application meeting in August of 2024. We submitted our applications right before Halloween, and these have been under staff review and resubmittal. We had produced a traffic study, which was a little bit of the delay because you see staff review here, October to February, and then again, February to April here. So we conducted a traffic study with a methodology approved by both the City of Newberry and the Florida Department of Transportation, because initially our primary connection is to State Road 45, 2741 out there. We are here tonight at the Planning and Zoning Board and anticipate hopefully going to the City Commission in the next month here. Let's see what happens when I click further. Okay. Yeah, we are having a PowerPoint meltdown here. Yeah. About 12 years to accomplish. The project will initially connect to the existing roadways, water, sewer, and utilities in Countryway. So this is a logical extension of the existing development program. There's Countryway Town Center, and we will connect there. Therefore, the PD actually limits this property to a lower density than the land use allows. And we did that because we want to save some tree lines and we want to have that interconnection that works off the existing roadway network. In the future, additional roads will be connected to the north, south, and east, consistent with the comprehensive plan. The development standards that are being mirrored in Countryway 2 are very similar to those of Countryway 1. We did that because it is the same owner and same developer. And it just totally bombed out on me there. Yeah. There's definitely something going on with the projection scanning, but we'll figure that out. There will be, and
I think we have most of the slides in the
yeah, thank you.
So there should be extra copies over there if anybody from the public is itching for one.
It's seeming to want to go in and out of the desktop of Windows there, so
Okay.
I'll click through here. This line actually should be further to the east along the eastern property boundary. So if you will, and if I can use that, pointer, that connection will be in a 60-foot right-of-way along that edge. And that is done to work in concert with the development that is occurring to the south. So consistent with the comprehensive plan, this oblique aerial shows you Countryway as it exists today. Here is the PD master plan for Countryway 2. The Newberry Ridge developer at the south had a plan to come into the property here and transfer their traffic through this development up through its roadway network and then on up to 15th. Working with city staff, our office supplied them an alternate connection, and you see here where we say no, and over here where we say yes. So Mr. Norfleet is going to dedicate right-of-way along the eastern edge of this property here that will allow for a 60-foot wide right-of-way that will allow for a connection to go up to 15th. We are not going to distribute our traffic east and west on 15th. However, we will touch it and make a connection because we do not want to interfere with the tree-lined canopy character of 15th. But what we do want to do is quickly cross over that to a connection that will ultimately continue further to the north and connect into Highlands Park, and then potentially along this yellow line, connect into State Road 26, where a future traffic light may be located going into the Ag Tech Park. So what we've done is we've created a whole network here so that traffic is diversified, not only through initially the first phase into the existing neighborhood, but then out to the east, up here to the north, and then of course to the south. So that gives a variety of roadways that provide connection, which is consistent with the comprehensive plan. Here's that similar oblique, but from the other angle, so that you can see 2741 here in the background coming up past the elementary school. And then here's State Road 26. Ultimately, through the work that we've done in our traffic study and our design, there will be a connection so that residents in Newberry Ridge can come up along this eastern property line and carry on all the way up to Newberry Road, either to shopping here or to jobs and employment up here. So this is overall master planned in the city's long-term framework. We know that they will be changing theirs. We supplied our plans to the engineers for Newberry Ridge on April 7th of last month. This is consistent with multiple elements in the future land use element, and you would see those if that was working right. What's really striking me odd, and I think it's in the Crestron system, because we do not have a City of Newberry logo embedded in our PowerPoint, so I think it's trying to project two things, and it's confused over what it's projecting. The data and analysis that we've completed with our comprehensive plan and in our land development regulations, or PDR, that we have presented identifies numerous elements in the comprehensive plan that this application is consistent with. And staff has acknowledged in the staff report that each phase of this development, as presented in the petition, represents varying degrees of impact on state services. We have planned for all that, as you can see in the overall connection scheme of this project. And a development agreement will be negotiated between the city and the applicant prior to final development on here. It is consistent with the zoning regulations of the City of Newberry, specifically Article 4 and Section 420. And then again, in the zoning regulations, Section 4.2.24. So our request is that you respectfully approve this as per the staff report and our competent substantial evidence presented in both the applications and our presentation and the applicant's presentation and the subject matter testimony that's been provided to you this evening. And now it's back to our presentation. We'll figure this out technically. Someone will come out here and do a tech session one day during lunch.
Thank you, Mr. Diedenbach. Is there any comment from the public? You'll have 3 minutes. Seeing none? Sir? Come on up. Yes, sir. We'll give you 3 minutes, and just introduce yourself first, okay?
Yes, my name is Steve Hogan. I live in Countryway 1, pretty
Okay.
close to the new development. So first question, I don't know who I address this to, whether it's to
You
Chris
just
or
addressed it to us.
You, okay,
Yep,
okay.
yep.
Is, when does the construction start in phase 1? I know they've been grading there in that phase 1. I've just noticed that. So when does that start?
Gotcha. I don't have an immediate question for you, but we can ask, so is that your only question?
No, I have quite a few.
Oh,
I'll go quickly. I'll go quickly.
should I start writing?
Sure.
Okay. No worries.
And then when will that be done, finished, phase 1?
Well, it was a 12-year project I did here in the
Right.
presentation.
Right,
Okay, start date,
right, and finish date?
finish date's probably a little bit more ambiguous, but go ahead, what's your next one?
Next question is, what is the width of the perimeter buffer between the Countryway 1? If there's a buffer, that letter B it talked about there.
Okay.
The next question is this, is he explained the roads, like 4 different roads going out. When did he think that road going north? Because the primary road, the primary connection, of course, is coming from Countryway 1, coming from the west.
Right.
I just want to know when the other roads be built, so when will it alleviate, you know?
Gotcha. Okay. All right, well, we'll see if we can get some of the answers
Okay,
for you.
great. Thank
Thank you,
you.
Mr. Hogan. Yes, sir. Any other public comment? All right, seeing none. Okay, I'll bring it back up to, I assume the applicant or staff don't have anything to cross-examine each other on this item either? Seeing none? Okay. I'll bring it back to the dais. What questions do we have of staff and/or the applicant? You want me to start with the ones I just wrote down from Mr. Hogan? All right, is there a projected start date for it right now? Yeah, anybody, jump on in. And/or finish date, width of the perimeter, and speak a little bit more to the scheduling on the road network.
Sure.
So start date, finish date, perimeter, expand on the road network.
I'm gonna see if I can get lucky and go backwards, but no, it's not gonna be helpful.
I think I can get you the perimeter one. I think it's in the,
Yeah. If I get to the picture, yeah, let me use the oblique because it's still getting a little fuzzy on us here. All right, so the construction for phase one, that would be completely up to when the applicant wanted to start. I would presume, given the time it takes to engineer a phase, that you're probably looking at starting construction in 2028. Because you've got, well, we're halfway through 26 right now. You've got phase one to go through an infrastructure design. So I would think probably Q4 27, Q1 2028 to start. The phases, phase one, I feel like I'm at a seance here with this. Yes, phase, yeah.
Vanna White this for you.
You got to point it at what? You got to point it.
What do you want to advance? You point it back.
Oh, no. I want the arrow so the mayor doesn't have to Vanna White this. So on phase one here with 125 homes, roughly 40 to 50 homes a year, you're probably looking at going through 2028, 29, 30, 31. So probably 2031 or so. Then you get over here, 2031 or 2, 3, 4. Then up in phase 3, 5, 6, 7. So probably 2040. And I know that sounds like a long way away, but that's probably about right, about a dozen years from now. So that gets you out to about 2038 or so. Okay? You had asked about the perimeter buffer. This is helpful in this. As you can see to the south here, the buffer is thicker in areas where the vegetation exists and along that area where it showed there on the aerials, and here because there are going to be stormwater basins there. So that buffer is thicker along the south side than per se the west side because, I'm sorry, the east side, because here we're going to dedicate 60 feet of right-of-way. So there's really no buffer, but it will be the back of lots that are there. Along the north side, I believe we have a 25-foot buffer to the right-of-way of 15th. And there is some buffer here along the western side, but also these areas are stormwater basins where I'm having the arrow move back and forth. So there's already buffering built in here, and there is buffer that's along that edge. But there's a good distance there between the stormwater basins and where the tree line would be here. Okay?
Jerry, I didn't write down your dates and timing, but I assume the road network would be coinciding with the phases as they roll out.
That is correct, Madam Chair, Mr. Mayor, that we have put a condition in there that states that this would occur during phase 4 or earlier if others needed it. And we've heard a bit about the projection of Newberry Ridge to the south here. So if another developer or if the city or others wanted to advance that construction, that right-of-way would be dedicated earlier, but we wouldn't need to construct that till we got out here in phase 4 of this. But it'll be dedicated right away.
All right. Thank you. I hope that answers your question, Mr. Hogan.
Hopefully I did
Sir.
okay with that
Hey,
aerial waving there.
any comments, questions from the dais?
going to keep traffic off of 15.
Hold on. You got to come up to the podium to ask any questions if you want. Okay. And any members of the board have any questions for staff or the applicant?
Okay, I was going in line.
Okay. Scary.
I did have a clarification question that I ran by staff and they asked me to ask this as well. So when I was reading through the overview, I see because there is a reduced dwellings per acre of less than 4 for low density, but there is within the proposal, there is obviously smaller homes, what we call, tiny homes. And I know that there was in the other development of Countryway 1, there is already an existing, I think it's closer to phase 3, if I'm correct?
Right here.
Right. So is phase 3 going to be where the proposal of additional tiny homes, like, so it flows from Countryway 1 to 2? I'm trying to think of the flow here. Is that what the idea is, so that it all looks, synonymous? Or, I love the mix of it. I just wanted to kind of get an idea of, like, visually. I'm not going to hold you to it. I know that the PRD is not complete, but I was just kind of get an idea.
Yeah,
Yes.
yeah, we do the tiny homes, if we do them, and I don't know if we're gonna do them, it would be in,
Well,
in that same
that was the
area.
only reason why you were asking for the shortage in the, from 10 feet to 3 feet, correct?
Right.
That's the only reason, okay. So because it's
But it
significantly
would-
less,
But it would be kinda in the continuous with it.
correct. So for the bigger lots that have the larger homes, like I don't know why I say Country Time, I'm thinking Lemonade, obviously. Yeah, I totally got Lemonade in my mind. Countryway 1, those would be similar to the existing development, correct?
Yeah, and what we're gonna do probably in the first phase, it'll back up to Old Country Way, our town square. There's a big row of oak trees against that whole, I guess it would be the western side of the new property. And those trees will stay, and we're gonna back large lots up to them. And when I say large lots, maybe 100, 110 wide,
Okay.
130 deep, they'll be backed up to that.
Okay.
And probably in the first phase, it'll probably be the 70 foots and the 110-foot wide lots. And then,
I just wanted a clarification that, because I know that was a concern in a past meeting with zero, what
Right.
public concerns as zero lot lines. But knowing your current development, I know that you only do that when you have to, when there's a deformity of the land or something like that.
and kind of like Jerry said in the thing, right now, the trees are kind of through the middle, like almost crosshatched, and our plan is leave all the trees that we can. You know what I mean? So, and then we'll back the big lots up to the trees, so it'll be further off the Old Country Way, and then you'll have that natural buffer there. And plus, like you said, all the way across the back of Old Country Way, there's about a 150-foot retention pond that kind of buffers it also.
And then my second question was regarding on 15th Ave. I know that they're not expecting that to be an outflow, or the main entrance is going to be going through Countryway 1 and or once phase 4 is done, going the back road, which I don't know what that road is, or if there's one even named yet. Connecting all the way to Highland Park, going over into 26. Originally, when we were looking at this last year, if I remember from my first meeting, wasn't there something discussing with if you had to go on 15th that you would be responsible for the pavement?
Well, I think after talking with staff, with city staff, we've come to the conclusion that we'll have the right of way to go to, like I said, through Highland Park for now, to go back to 18th, and then also go back down that Tiny Hole Road. And then we'll have an emergency exit only going
Got
on
it.
15th for like fire trucks and stuff.
Okay.
And I think we even talked about fire department would have the code or the key, and then it would be closed. So
And because you're giving the easement, is that a shared responsibility for paving that road with the other development?
well, I think the whole lot, on the easement part, when we get to phase 4, we'll pave it at phase 4. If they have the eastern part done to 26 ahead of time, and it needs to be done, we could do some of it, another thing, we did not want, in the agreement, I think, on Newberry Ridge, the property on the south side, if that northern piece is not connected to 26, we don't want them coming in there until it's connected.
Well, that was, I agree with the way you guys deterred it to the backside, because you are an HOA community like them, but there was gonna be a lot of wear and tear.
Right.
So that was my concern, when does that open up for you guys?
And I spoke correctly on that, right, Jordan? Okay, because that was part of the staff guy we were talking to. Well, okay,
So who's responsible for maintaining the road?
which one's that?
Are you talking about
The easement that's
Spinal
kinda-
Road?
Yes.
Once each developer has constructed their segment, then they'll deed that over to the city. It'll become a city
Okay.
road.
Okay,
But each development will build their piece.
right. Okay, cool.
And to clarify, Manager Morlow, they won't have access, the way Tripp said it. Newberry Ridge will not have access to that back until they're done with that final phase on the end, because before it was going into the middle of the development, they said no to on the picture.
Who is the they pronoun there?
They meaning Newberry
All of
Ridge. Newberry Ridge won't have access to that road until they've developed that area in their particular
Right.
plan.
I think just like this development, the North Fleets are going to develop from the west to the
Okay.
east.
It's gonna be the
Newberry
same
Ridge
way.
is going to develop from the south to the north. So they'll, I think they'll probably end up getting there pretty close at the same time. Had a conversation with the developer that's to the north. They've known about this mile road. They've agreed as well. So there's a lot of moving pieces and parts to this because there's a whole lot of, things that are up in the air, but everybody has agreed we need this road to get from 30th to 26. We want to get traffic moving north-south.
I think this is a great idea, especially with the influx of traffic with the middle school becoming a K through 8 in the future and the growth projected for these communities. So that was a really great partnership between both communities in doing that. So thank you to the North Fleets for doing that.
Jean-Paul, there were not any comments from the state, I assume, right? Or Ms. Yatter, excuse me.
No, it was approved in, sorry. We can't hear you. I think the general comment from DOT was just to be cognizant of the overall area, but there were no objections, no specific comments for
Okay, all
the
right.
amendment.
Fantastic. Okay. Under the substantial and competent evidence standard, do I hear a motion from the board at this time?
Motion.
Second.
Okay, Ms. Parker and Ms. Carey on the second. Is there anything else from the dais? All right, hearing none. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
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 The ayes have it. Motion passes 3-0. Site and Development Plan Heartland Dental at Highland Park. All right, Jean-Paul.
Thank you. I'm going to keep repeating my name because we're in quasi, so I apologize for that. John Paul Perez with the Community Development Department. The request before the board is a site and development plan for Heartland Dental at Highland Park. We're starting to get a lot of the site plans in now for Highland Park that were part of the initial approval.
We see that.
Yeah, exciting. And another dentist for the area, so that's good news. These folks seem to be more of a national type of dentistry association.
Okay.
May accept more broader range of insurances. Regardless, they're here for a site plan. Staff's recommended motion is to recommend approval of the petition to the city commission. We do have some pretty minor comments attached to this one. I'm sorry, conditions. And the city commission hearing will be advertised publicly. The aerial image, you can see the location of the Heartland Dental parcel within the array of commercial parcels along State Road 26. Current owner of the property is WMG Acquisitions LLC, so they're already starting to sell off some of the parcels to private parties as they're coming in and advancing their site plans at the same time. This particular site is 1.27 acres, and the actual office is about 4,400 square feet. So lots of people and shares in this one. Here you can see some
Hold
of
on
the...
one second,
Yes, sir.
Jean-Paul. Lauren, can you shut the door? Thank you.
Here you can see some of the developments that have been brought before the board, as well as some of those that are coming tonight, as well as McDonald's in the future that's currently in process. And in yellow is the Heartland Dental. All right, and here's the actual site plan. They utilize the cross-access. Heartland Dental's on the left side of this. There's a lot of call-outs on the right. Both parcels are owned by WMG Acquisitions, and so both utilize the same firm. They kind of design these sites in unison so that they could shoulder some of the ingress and egress and other requirements that sites have to do since they're a single owner currently. But Heartland Dental is on the left-hand side here, right there. And then they have the cross-access in the front, but the primary access is going to be in the rear for the time being. Both of these will be built out. They do share an ingress and egress off of that back service road. currently, and then as all the parcels fill out, that eventual cross-access across all the parcels will become universally available from the the primary ingress egress drives. And so, not much on this particular site plan. Again, they will access here. They have a dumpster in the rear towards the service side of the building, and then the office building with parking all around it. It does meet the overlay standards. The overlay standards applied in this particular case are the ones that were adopted by the commission initially. Given the date of this and the progress that they had made up until this point, they had kind of cemented in the old overlay standards, which are still very robust when it comes to landscaping and whatnot. In the front, they'll have a 15-foot landscape buffer opposed to a 25-foot. And there's certain other things that were added in the large-scale retail package that aren't considered here, like the limitation on building height, et cetera. So they still only need to meet the commercial intensive height requirement, which is 72 feet. It's, yeah, but this is a one-story building, so neither here nor there. We did find it consistent with the comprehensive plan and land development regulations. Knox box is required for this particular use. There are some additional infrastructure callouts here that will be addressed on the building permit, but are inconsequential to the actual site layout. So, and one other thing that I'll just advise the board in case it comes up in public comment is just based on how many people are unconscious at a single time, may change some licensing requirements with the fire department, but the fire chief gave it his blessing. It's good to go there. So he was very happy with the plan. That completes my presentation. Applicant's here to answer any technical questions you may have. Thank you guys so much.
Do we have some of the elevation stuff for Heartland? For the public, we have it in the backup.
I don't. I can tell you that it did satisfy the overlay standards as far as design and materials and glazing. They did provide a pretty robust design package utilizing multiple materials on that.
They're here if anybody from the public needs to check them out. They were in our backup, but just want to make that available to you all if you need it for any reason. Everybody from the board, you saw that in the backup? Okay. Okay. Did the applicant's not here, correct?
Yes, they are.
Oh, great. Hey, did you have a presentation or no?
Yes, sir.
You don't like us?
John
What's
Paul
up?
did a great job. I didn't need to.
Okay, all right, so you don't have anything to cross-examine him about or anything? Any public comment? Seeing none, does any member of the board have a question for staff or the applicant?
The only question I had was in one of the documents, there was construction staging, which I assume now that I know it's the same owner for both properties, I'm assuming that construction staging is for both properties during that time, right? And it's going to go all green space afterwards?
Yes, ma'am. Yeah.
Is that going to be used for the water management? Like, is it going to be a basin there?
So this is actually a master stormwater system, and so those ponds behind the service road are generally designed for the entire thing. So as they go for their Swanee River Water Management District, they still do provide like some on-site retention, but most of it's deferred to that. So there's stormwater drains on the property that'll drain it into the master system, which will dump it into
So
the
can
basins.
I play devil's advocate here? Since we were mentioning the comp plan and the 15 feet and 25 feet based on timing. If they have that much green space in the back, why wouldn't they just add the extra 10 feet in the front to meet it and make it synonymous with the rest of it?
There's some technical reasons. The layout of like the legal easement, they have the developer, not WMG, but the developer has approved construction plans where it goes. And they
So the original PRD was set that.
Yeah.
Got it.
Not in the PRD, but the construction plans that followed, which the code will call like the final development plan. But in the construction plans, they had laid out that infrastructure. And so How, in the order that it gets built is sometimes, up to negotiation between lot purchasers and the developer when it's on private property. But everything in the public right-of-way that the city will be accepting needs to be completed right away. So we're not deviating and requiring more construction plans to come forward. We're just adhering to what they were approved with. And every applicant has a reasonable expectation to not have the rules changed on them as
No,
they're
that's,
moving
no,
through
that,
the
that
process.
absolutely is fair.
Yeah.
No, I'm just, I was assuming it was like an extra storm water because I could not tell from the plan. I was like, maybe that's what it is. But then my secondary question is, because it's shared, and this will piggyback to the next one, is why wouldn't we do more parking, especially because of what's next door?
Yeah, ultimately, at the end of it, it may not be the same owner.
Okay.
Right now it is, but at the end users may be separate owners.
Could they, at any other time, based on, let's say they build it this way and they realize it doesn't work because of impacts of, traffic and so forth, can they at any time, do they have to come back to us to make additional parking spots?
For parking, no.
Okay, that's my only question.
Any other questions from the board? Okay, we have a recommended action on the board at this time. Do I hear a motion? So far, it's been Parker, Carrie,
Motion
Parker.
to approve as presented.
Second.
They're fighting over seconds.
Miss Carrie, and I'm going to credit Miss Thomas on the second there for that one. Okay, under the competent and substantial evidence standard, if there's no further deliberations, all those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Motion passes unanimous. Okay, the next one is Chipotle. We already saw pretty much the whole thing under the dental, but do you have anything to add, Jean-Paul?
Generally, no. This is, I think for the purposes of quasi, I may need to go through at least our findings and recommended motion. But I did want to add that the Chipotle does include outdoor dining. The following hearing or, item will be that special exception. In the code currently, it's a special exception to have outdoor dining in commercial districts. And so they've moved forward with it. I will also let the board know at this same hearing, we're also going to consider a text amendment to remove that. So they're want a definite outdoor dining in this case, so they're moving forward with that special exception instead of waiting for it to pass. So not to belabor it, we are recommending approval. We do have some conditions attached to this one. Cross-access easement agreement for the shared access drive is going to be required between the two parcels, between Heartland Dental and Chipotle. And it must be operational before we issue a CO.
Okay. All right, very good. Any member of the public have any questions or comments? All right, seeing none, the applicant, you have no presentation, cross-examining staff, okay. All right, I'll bring it back to the board. We do have the site and development plan. The next one is the special exception for that outdoor dining. And then later on in the meeting, we actually have an opportunity to just get rid of the special exemption altogether as far as the text language goes. But on the floor right now, under the substantial and competent evidence standard, does anybody from the board have any questions of the applicant or staff? Ms. Carey.
I had a question regarding, I read on page 331 of our presentation, there's a proposed drive-through, which is very unique for this brand. Is that accurate? Am I seeing that in the plans? Is a drive-through?
Okay, awesome. Bo's going to tell you all about it.
Because I was like, it doesn't match up to what I'm seeing, so I'm like, maybe I'm blind here. It's
You're right, it did have a drive-through.
page 331, and so I don't want to,
Pickup only, yes, ma'am. Bow Climber, Farmer Barley, yeah, it's for mobile pickup only, so a customer
on the
cannot
left-hand
order.
side, I saw them, but what it mentions is a drive-through, which is a little bit different.
In the staff report, or
On page 331 of our packet, which is,
I could,
I can look up exactly, give me 1 second. I'm sorry, they change it when
I don't know if we have words for pickup only through.
Well, no, it's just,
I mean, I see it on the plan, but page 270.
yeah, I don't know if we specify drive-through. 331 would be the staff report. but it's just for pickup only. Mobile
Yes,
pickup
so
only.
under the project description, it says the petition purposes for 2,500 square feet fast food restaurant with a drive-through facility and outdoor seating. Bottom of page 331 of the staff report.
I'll just say that is an emerging business trend. It's not really accounted for in the trip generation manual or some of the
It would go
use
against,
definitions.
it would go against this brand, so that's why I was like, oh, they're trying something new with us.
Yeah,
'Cause
well,
They specifically want people to sit down
yeah,
and spend money.
evolve or die, they say, right? So Chipotle is evolving.
Well, this goes to my parking question was because like if it was set up for a drive-through, then there's not enough parking and then the parking would be blocked in the back end.
Yeah.
So if this was just your generalization for all fast food restaurants, then that makes sense. And I understand that. I just didn't want to approve something and then go, hey, there's really not proposed drive-through in the SCEPs.
Yeah, and great question too. I mean, ITE usually, once they have enough studies in hand, then they'll adopt a trip rate. But since this is such a new type of use that's really stemmed from the pandemic, that there aren't enough studies out there to really account or differentiate it from a typical drive-through at this time.
Okay.
Sounds good. Any other questions from staff? All right, would someone like to make a motion? Okay. Ms. Thomas on the motion, and do I hear a second?
I have a nitpicky comment.
Okay.
They might hate me for it.
Okay.
But a lot of the other facades have that wood look to them, and I noticed that this one is just the gray metal, and that was all. I like the unison of it all kind of flowing. It does match, it does go in there, but I have noticed that a lot of them have that wood look panel on it.
Gotcha.
I would agree that next door, compared to how robust the textures are on the dental building, especially since it's the same owner, it's going to stand out. So
Maybe that's on purpose, yeah.
it could be on purpose, but also, thinking about the continuality of everything that's going there. What is in Lot 7? Remind me. What's next to Chipotle? Or is there something planned
Oh,
there
that's
yet?
forthcoming. I believe we've looked at or had a meeting with Chase
Okay.
so far.
Good.
So.
We need an ATM.
I still need a second.
Second.
Okay, wonderful. If there's no further deliberations, again, under the competent evidence standard, all those in favor signify by saying Chipotle.
Chipotle.
We're parking. Yes, Chipotle.
Motion passes. Okay, so moving forward on the special exemption, still under quasi judicial, this is for the outdoor dining component to the Chipotle that we just passed for recommendation. Staff, you have an overview on this as well?
Yeah, I'll keep it brief on this one as well, and just provide to the board that the application was complete. We found it consistent with the land development regulations, the special exception criteria, the comprehensive plan, the overall PD ordinance, and the way it's been designed. We find it compatible with the site and adjacent sites as well.
Mr. Bo, did you have anything to add? Any public comment? Okay, I'll bring it back to the board. Any questions of staff? Seeing none, is there a motion?
Motion.
Motion to approve the exemption, Parker and Thomas. If there's no further deliberations, all those in favor under the competent and substantial evidence standard, once again, all those in favor signify by saying aye.
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 The ayes have it, motion passes unanimous. Is this our last quasi for the night? No. Maybe. YSU self-storage, item number 7. Okay, who's handling this one from you? All right, bring it on.
Good job. Thanks.
For not seeing you.
Yeah.
Thank you,
That's
Bo.
how I roll.
Have a good night.
You guys ready?
Yes, sir.
All right, awesome, thank you. Again, for quasi procedures, my name is John Paul Perez, Community Development Department. The request before the board tonight is a site and development plan at Highland Park. This is going to be on the very first lot, all the way to the west by the FDOT drainage basin there. Staff's recommended motion is to approve the petition with our conditions. We just have one on this particular one, and that is just to screen some of the mechanical equipment they have on the east side of the building facing the public right-of-way. It was just bare in that area. We're just asking for some small shrubs to screen that. The parcel's about 3.1 acres, so it's a little bit larger than the rest of them, and you'll see that this is, they're fitting a lot into this site. It's about 120,000 square feet of self-storage between the primary building and the detached one-story roll-up doors building, and about 7,500 square feet of outdoor storage, remarkably similar to what Ultimate RV Storage has currently. So it's just going to be a canopied storage area for RVs. The big mustard colored one is the site, so you can see its orientation within Highland Park. Here is the site plan showing you the location of the buildings, the flow of traffic, the parking, and ultimate connection to the south. This does kind of have that cross-access easement along the front and the landscape buffer, which will be 15 feet across the front as well. But generally, that is kind of like a one-way, except for the parking in the front driveway. You'll see also, we don't have one of these here, but they are pretty prevalent in urban areas. They'll have a drive-through in the center of the building on the ground floor that'll provide access to elevators that folks can take up. To the other stores, it'll be an entirely air-conditioned self-storage unit for the primary building, and likely the detached building as well. It is gated. They have screening for the one-story and covered storage portion. That's provided as an extension of that gate there, so it'll all be screened. And here you can see the rear of the site where it accesses the service road, and that interior to the building traffic will dump out onto the service road. As well as that drive around the building. And in the red square that's dashed are the condenser units outside, very large building, a lot of pounds per square feet going on inside there. And so they have many, many AC condenser units on the exterior, which we'll get some screening on, so they're not facing the street as you drive by. That completes my presentation. We find it consistent with the comp plan, the land development regulations, and the PD approval. We are recommending that one condition for the landscaping. This is just a summarized version of the actual language. I'm available for any questions if you have them.
Okay.
Applicant's here with a presentation as well, so let's not
right.
get too comfortable yet. And that's the beginning of their presentation there. Thank you.
Thanks, sir.
Thank you, board members, for being here tonight for us. My name is Jeremy Calloway. I'm principal, Maverick Engineering. Also with me tonight speaking next will be Shane, the project architect. Here's a depiction of the parcel here in yellow, located within the master development. We had the site plan that John Paul just went through, depicting the 138,000 and some change storage building with the interior drive aisle exiting to the south, as well as flanking to the western portion of the property, the one-story, just over 6,000 square foot storage building. We also have covered RV and boat parking and storage. The main access will come off of the north-south interior roadway here, enter into the property, and if you're visiting the large storage facility, you can enter in here, find you in the loading zone, offload your equipment, and then you can exit to the south. There will also be another access way flanking the western portion of the property. There'll be a Knox box gate in this location, kind of where this dimension is, and then they'll be able to exit to the south as well. The parcel has been master planned for both stormwater, water, and sewer utilities. We will be tying into those existing stubs from the master developer. Outside of that, the next slide will depict the landscape plan. We're depicting Florida native friendly vegetation flanking the outside of the property, as well as the interior parking islands. They're we did talk to John Paul about adding the landscaping around the condenser units. We're perfectly okay with that. We'll be taking care of that as well. We'll kick into some pretty pictures here for you now.
Thank you. Thank you, board members, mayor, attorney, managers. My name is Shane Batchel. I'm the project architect for your storage units. So we're happy to present the building for you. So as Jean-Paul and Jeremy already mentioned, there are 3 structures on the site itself. So we have the main storage building, which you're looking at here. It is a 3-story facility, around 120,000 square feet, and the entirety of this particular facility is climate-controlled storage. So as you saw on the site plan earlier, clients will come in through our main entrance right here. It's a drive-through entrance, and then you can go either to the left or to the right to your storage units inside that building. We do also have that covered outdoor RV storage, which is about 12 spaces. And then we have a smaller 1-story building as well that is a mixture of climate-controlled and exterior walk-up storage buildings. As far as the building is concerned, so we did look very thoroughly at your municipal code to make sure that as we kind of crafted the look and feel of the building here, it did comply with your requirements. This represents our primary look and feel for our facility. So the materials that we're using on the building are insulated metal panels. So if you look at the, these line works here, so those are insulated metal panels. They do also have a stucco finish, so it does give the building a stucco look. And then we also have a mix of other materials included in here, so EFIS-CLC, for example, and then a little bit of metal panels elsewhere forming the base here to kind of give a human scale to the building. All right, so this is the rear of the building. So coming out of the exit side, we do have a portal that we like to include on our building to invite people in and to let them know exactly how you access and enter the building. On the southwest side here, so we sort of carry through that same look and feel here with the insulated metal panels, a nice mixture of materials on the building, and then also we have our display windows that we typically like to show.
Shane, I'm sorry. This is the side where the RV storage will be, right?
Correct.
So we won't really see much of that necessarily.
You'll see a canopy. So the RV is actually not enclosed, so you will see
Right.
the frame and the structure for the canopy.
Okay.
And then obviously if there's vehicles there, no, you
Okay.
wouldn't see that side there. All right, and then this is the smaller storage building. So this one is a little bit more traditional in terms of the look and feel. However, this building is fully screened. It's behind a 6-foot CMU wall and the gates that Jeremy presented earlier. So on the front side of this building, we do have those walk-up storage units, but you can also go all the way inside, and then you'll have interior climate-controlled storage units on the interior of the building. So we prepared a couple of rendering shots for you just to have a better understanding of what the building is going to look like in the end. All right, so this is our display corridor on the side here, and then our main office is right here, and then of course we have the drive-through, the entrance to the drive-through here.
Is that a roll-up door, or it's going to be a pass?
It's a high-speed roll-up door.
High-speed roll-up door.
Yeah, it goes up in maybe 2 or 3 seconds.
Okay.
And it comes down not as quickly because we don't want to, not as quick. We don't want to hurt people on the way down. So it does come down, and it has sensors to make sure no one gets hurt on the way down. But we do it that way for a couple of reasons. So number one, obviously it's a climate control facility, so we don't want to leave that door up, all the time. And then also we like to maintain this closed look here so that you're not looking inside, while people are loading and unloading.
Is there potential, is that just like a false look there? Or is there a walkway in there where people could be in there looking out?
No, it's just a display corridor, so it's locked on the inside, so no one will be able to accidentally walk into that corridor there.
Okay.
All right, here's another look. This one's coming out the rear of the facility.
Look, we got a Rolls Royce.
Yeah, people store a lot of stuff, And then this the RV canopy on the side over here.
Okay.
What is the height of the canopy? Is it halfway to like the first story? Is that?
Yeah, it's probably about 12 feet, but don't quote me on that. I want to give you the correct answer on it.
Because there's a lot of RVs that are a little bit taller.
Yeah, let me look at my documentation and I can give you the correct answer for it.
High enough for an RV.
It is, yeah, for sure. That's a good catch-all answer. All right, and this is another shot from the front side of the facility here. And this one's looking at the smaller single-story building. All right. This is just a layout of the interior of the building. So like we talked about, we do have interior climate control on the main building here. And of course, part of the requirements here was to make sure that we did accommodate loading bays. So we do have those provided here in our main drive-through aisle. And I can't see it. You can see the height there, but it's too small for me to see. What does it say?
I'm trying to read.
So it's about
110 to 126.
yeah, so 16 feet.
I guessed at 15. So there you go.
There you go. Right on the money.
All right.
All right, and then we did provide additional details for our trash enclosure screening as well.
Okay.
This one is just an example of one of our existing facilities, so you can have a better understanding of what the materials might look like at the end. This is the high-speed door that we talked about here, and then we construct our facilities primarily with the insulated metal panels. And this is our screening sidewall. All right, this is just a photometric study that we did to make sure that we don't have any light bleed outside the perimeter of our property. And all the fixtures that we specify for the project are dark sky compliant, so we made sure to include that documentation in here for you as well. And then the last thing that we mentioned was we do provide a Knox box for both the gate and then for accessing the actual drive-through itself.
Okay.
And that's it.
Great. Mr. Staff, do you have anything to, okay. All right, is there any public comment on this one? 3 minutes to do so, going once? Okay. We'll bring back to the board, and does anybody from the board have a question of the applicant and/or staff?
I have comments, not questions.
Okay.
Because I already asked my question and I got the answer, which was related to the height of the building. So you guys obviously applied apparently before we did any regulations on it. So our new height regulation is 42 feet and you're at 45. And I know you're like, come on, lady, you're picking at me for like 3 feet. But I'm looking at the overall appearance of that and it being,
May I interrupt you real quick?
yes.
So the actual height of the building is 41 feet. The parapet goes up to 45 feet. When we're actually measuring the height of the building, it'll be to the
Okay.
roof line, which is 41 feet, and then they're allowed a projection above and beyond that, which is what the parapet is. So that's where you're seeing the 45 feet. Still complies, even though they don't have to, with the new requirements, keeping it below the 42.
Okay.
All right.
Look, I'm learning something else.
See those numbers there. That was a fun question.
Yeah, yeah. Look at that. There, I guess that's kind of what I wanted. Again, it's just comments. We have a lot of storage units in the area. I know I can't make my decision based off of this, but I'm just going to give some feedback. We have quite a few of those. And this thing is going to be massive in comparison to all these one stories on the strip. And I think it's going to be quite a eyesore to look at. With everything else around it and what that looks like, you're going to do what you're going to do. And I can't legally say no to you. So, but that's just my feedback. I think this is going to stick out and just not fit in with everything else going on. Who knows what's coming, but that's just my opinion.
Ms. Thomas, do you have anything? Ms. Carey?
I had a question and then a comment as well to piggyback off of Melina. My question was regarding, I see that the overlay is a lot bigger than 15 feet because of the stormwater management on the southwest side, I'm assuming. I'm trying to go direction correct because it's going down. So obviously with the stormwater there, the way of the projections of the trees, are there going to be significantly more trees there? Because with a 6-foot fence and a 10 to 11-foot building with that one strip that's across from the RV building number 2, I want to make sure that that's hidden. And the reason why I'm saying that is the way that you're driving through and coming around the corner, that's the first thing you're going to see on top of the 2-story building. So whatever, two and a half. You only see 2 stories there because it's high units. So my concern is that going to be more lush? And if there's anything, possibly making it more of a condition to do that so that it's not as an eyesore, as you said. And is the fence that's going around, is that also metal, or is that a brick fence that's going around that backside? That was my question.
Yeah, not depicted in the renderings are the proposed plantings. So we do have the Florida native trees, a mixture of oaks, river birch, magnolia, as well as maple trees. We do have, I think, 4 trees proposed in this island here. As you come around the corner, there's a tree.
Yeah, I'm talking this whole backside.
Okay, yep. So right now, we're proposing to leave this as is. The grading will come outside the building about 10, 15 feet or so. There is an existing FDOT easement over here that we're trying not to impact too much. And then we are planting kind of the outside, every 20 foot on center, per standard convention. The tree as much as we can get in there, yes.
So every 20 feet?
Yes, ma'am.
And is that with like a certain age tree, or is this like?
It's a standard convention that we utilize based on the trees growing and not being too close to each other. We typically do a 20 foot on center. It's pretty industry standard.
And then as far as being an eyesore, I do agree that it is tall. I do agree that we may not need an immediate need, but with the considering of the growth of our community, this is probably going to be a necessity, especially with the number of homes going in Highland Park and the other communities that are being built. The other one is further down the road, and the other one is on the other south side of town. I shouldn't say south side, east side of town, going towards Trenton. So my question is, because I know this is coming up in commission meetings, so this isn't really relevant to this, but have they already been aware of the fire assessment and how it works for overhangings as well as buildings? So that, do you know what I'm talking about? It's come up like 3 times in 3 past meetings, every time we have fire assessment, so I just want to make sure that that's noted.
We try to prepare them for as much as we can. Fire assessments, I don't think, is on that list. We can start doing so if it's a desire of the
I just don't
board.
want them to be one of the other people that come and complain, because the way that the state law is, if I remember, Manager Marlowe, if I'm wrong, overhangings like the RV parking is counted as square footage for the fire assessment.
In this particular case, they should be aware that that's usable, taxable space and would be subject to.
It's usable taxable space, but the open air part isn't actually accounted for in the fire assessment. So we were able to clarify that this past year.
Oh, that's wonderful. So I won't have to hear that at the next budget meeting. That's wonderful.
Let me recap. There is a fire assessment, but it's calculated
At a different rate. Okay, all right. Fair enough. I know that was always a big thing for our other storage communities, and I just didn't want there to be an echo for the third company coming in. So that's the only reason I mentioned it.
Okay. My 2 cents were, I do think it's going to be big, but I do commend the architect, Shane, right? Shane, for trying to make it look as good as it does, considering it, it is a retail piece and it's not tucked away, back behind someplace. And yeah, it's probably more than what we need right now, but as board member Carey said, I think there'll probably be a market for it at some point. And maybe by the time you get it all done. Okay, under quasi-judicial, I took public, did I get public comment yet? Yeah, okay, all right. Fair enough. Is anyone from the board at this point ready to make a motion? Can we put the motion back up on
I'll
the?
make a motion to accept as presented,
Okay,
as long as it doesn't get taller.
Second.
all right, we have a motion from Board Member Carey and a second from Ms. Thomas. Absent the Auburn Tiger paraphernalia on our presenter, under the competent and substantial evidence standard, all those, if there's no further deliberation, all those in favor signify by saying aye.
Reluctantly, aye.
Motion passes 3-0. Okay, thank you, guys. Do you know when you guys are going to try to get started?
I think we've got to be open in 2 years, so we'll be hitting the ground running pretty soon.
Okay, all right.
Mr. Mayor,
Yes,
just before they
sir.
leave, both the storage unit on 27 and the RV are both at 100% capacity already. The one is expanding, and I think the only reason the other one isn't at 100% capacity, that is to the north, is its location is a little bit. So I think we'll bring you the houses and we'll fill you up pretty quick.
Okay,
Actually kind of like the difference from all the restaurants to something different. I like their architecture. I thought it was really snazzy and modern.
all right.
Like we were fancy.
Yeah, yeah. We'll see how, well, they know their market, hopefully, right? Okay, so item number 8, I think we're actually out of quasi judicial now. Correct, Madam Attorney? All right, so item 8, LDR 2616, public facilities. Do you have something to read in the record? Do you? No? You don't like us either? Okay. Stacy, go ahead.
All right. I know. Good evening. I know you're absolutely in shock because you don't have a public facilities list of properties coming through. But we have been asked to take a really hard look at the text, and so that's what I'm bringing to you this evening. So in front of you is my revised version. This Saturday, I worked on getting it edited after speaking with administration. We've kind of clarified a couple things. Let me go through the presentation and then I'll specifically address those. So the question this evening is, should the Planning and Zoning Board revise public facilities zoning designation to have 2 different approval processes for the city versus other governmental agencies? And the other governmental agencies is the piece I'll discuss as we get to it. Currently, the public facilities text has 1 approval process and set of regulations for any applicant that applies. Staff has been directed to bifurcate that process and come up with a less restrictive approval for the city side than for other governmental entities asking for approvals. And the reason is many things that we're taking through the process, the city, you all have seen, the city commission has seen, it's been discussed in CIPs at budget time. Nothing that we really bring to your attention is a surprise. And so we figured it was this was the way to go about taking our public facilities, anything that's located in that zoning district, and basically breaking up the approval process. So we would have a less stringent process to go through because it will not be the first time you have seen or heard most of the public facilities projects that the city would bring through. Other governmental agencies would have a little bit more stringent process to go through. You all just recently saw Life Soils, and Life Soils was one of those that was a partnership with us. They would need to provide the site plan like they did and all the stuff that was in their packet because, and again, that was even one of those that it wasn't a surprise. This had been on the books and talked about for 3 years prior. So that's the one nice thing about a lot of those is nothing is coming to you that you haven't already heard of or seen in another form or fashion. The other thing that we did was in that code for the other governmentals is we looked for safeguarding the compatibility, unified control, and the ongoing compliance. So we take it back to the question, should the Planning and Zoning Board revise the public facilities zoning designation and give it two different approval processes for the city versus other governmental agencies? We originally in your text saw public-private partnership, and that wasn't really, it was really hard for me to grasp that public-private partnership. So we said other governmental entities was a better way to describe it, because it would really only be feds, state, or county coming to you in some form or fashion. So that's why we changed those words.
And Mr. Mayor, just to be clear, this still wouldn't give the city of Newberry regulatory authority over schools. Schools are still exempt, but county size, they want to build something out at IFAS, right, we would still have the process to go through.
That's correct.
Okay, what's the pleasure of the board?
So does that mean that you guys wouldn't bring any site plans forward for any of the parks after this for us?
We wouldn't be required to.
Okay.
And most of the parks would have already gone through a public vetting process, as you've already seen with Lois Fort, for example. The dog park was a square, so there wasn't a whole lot of things to bring forward on that one. MLK, we had, two community meetings on MLK. We got all that feedback. So those types of things aren't ones that we would necessarily ask staff or their designee to bring forward for a site plan, just because it's been seen a couple times. All comments have been brought together and formed the MLK stuff, for instance.
Any other questions or comments? Ms. Carey?
Is this for all future planned parks as well? Or any
Yes.
future planned parks would come forward?
Anything that is public facilities that is owned by the city or being built by the city would not necessarily have to come to you.
Like, for instance, the future fire department that's coming forward in 5 years. That
You
was-
will have seen that, I don't know, probably 3 or 4 times before it ever gets
I agree.
to any approval process.
I agree with. But like for some of these that are planned developments that are mentioning donating land or so forth, that would still come forward because it would be
If the
initial
land,
plan?
if we're changing the land designation to public facilities, if it was our land that the city
Well,
had,
if it's being donated, it comes
it would be
from-
ours.
Correct, but it doesn't automatically default to public facilities at donation, right? It
No, we
has
have to
come
do the
forward.
land use and the zoning to change it. You would
Correct.
all hear those as they
Right.
go through, because we have to bring those
It
through
would
to
come
you.
from the PRD to that.
Or we would carve that out and just simultaneously drag it through and make it public facilities along the way. If we get to that,
Again,
that level of detail.
The question in front of you tonight isn't about the PF. It's about whether you want to amend the PF so that if a different entity comes in, it does. So PF is we've already made that decision. The question in front of you tonight is, does that decision apply to every other government entity? Or does that the decision that's already been made only apply to Newberry, and other government entities do have to follow that?
Thank you for the clarification, because I was seeing it as like anything that comes in new for the city wouldn't be presented, which we should still have public input on.
No,
any
I'm
initial-
sorry. It's yeah. So
That's what I was like. I was like, this isn't what I remember.
Two processes, one for the city,
Okay.
one for any other governmental agency.
And then my question on page 3, 4.23B3, where it says demonstrate clear and substantial public purpose and benefit. What is the definition of that bolded item? What would be quantitative as far as benefit or substantial?
That would be up to the person coming forward for their clearance.
So it's just their
schedule.
opinion.
No, they'd have to have data and analysis to prove that to you.
Okay, so like, what I'm saying is like, we have quantitatives for other parts in our comp plan and our LDRs.
Yes.
For that, for
They would be-
substantial proof.
They would be relying on those exact same things.
Okay,
The
so
comp
that-
plan,
it's
land
just-
development code, it has to.
Okay, so it's generalization to fall back on that.
Yes.
Okay, that's what I wanted clarification. I was like, is this another definition of something where we're putting as a kind of a gray area where someone can determine on their own basis of substantial? But thank you for clarification. That's not the LERs.
All right, if there's no other comments, is there a motion?
Motion to accept as presented by staff.
Okay, Ms. Carey on the motion, is there a second? Ms. Thomas on the second. If there's no further deliberations, all those in favor signify by saying aye.
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 Motion passes unanimous. Okay, great. Item number 9, removing outdoor dining as a special exemption in commercial districts seems fairly obvious, but give us the highlights.
Okay, sorry, I wasn't sure it was going the right way. So I believe the Planning and Zoning Board has heard this numerous times already. I know the City Commission has. That is why I'm standing here. We believe it was, this provision was added to our city code because of a potential bad actor. One bad actor, we take it all, we say commercial, no way. We're gonna make sure that we're gonna check this out. Well, if you think about Florida and you think about our wonderful weather most of the year, encouraging folks to eat outside is what we kind of want to do. And we want people to have those opportunities to eat outside. So to have the outdoor dining. So it is a special exception requirement currently in the code right now. Staff has been asked to bring this forward and remove that requirement out of all of our commercial districts. And that's kind of what we've done here in the text in your staff report.
So we would effectively basically address this at the site development stage.
That is
Like
correct.
we just did with Chipotle.
That is correct.
So we would see it on the design standard, we'd see it on the elevations, we'd see it in the aerials and all that stuff.
That's correct. And we have provisions in our 4.2 section of our code that talks about whether if, in case chairs or tables are in the actual right-of-way where they have to be moved, handicap accessibility, all that stuff is addressed. And like Mayor said, you will address it in the site development plan as well. Commission has asked staff to bring that forward, so we are bringing that forward. Chipotle, unfortunately, was one step ahead of us before staff could get everything done. So they're going to roll through. This requires 3 readings: PZB, City Commission. Their site and development plan for this, and the special exception is PZB and 1 reading of the City Commission. So they'll probably beat us.
Okay.
So they'll get their special exception approval that will then be not necessary, but they didn't want that holding them up, even though we told them we were already working on it.
Any questions?
I have questions. Okay, so for existing commercial, can they now just put outside seating?
That is correct. We have many, many, many that are right now. They will become conforming once this is passed.
And then, so if we approve this and then they come and they put it on their site plan and we're like, I really don't think this is a great idea, there's really nothing we can say for no at that point because we've put it in there and then legally we have to say yes.
Well, you wouldn't necessarily be saying no to something. You would be saying, hey, we don't really like what you have on your site plan. Can you move it or do something with it? I'm not sure there's an instance where outdoor dining wouldn't be.
You never know. That's where I'm at, is you never know what someone's gonna throw at you.
You've been on the PZB too long.
You have the opportunity for feedback on the site and development plan, 100%.
But you can't tell them, no, we don't want that.
But
Or,
the city commission can.
well, they can, but not, there are legalities where you're stuck to saying yes if they follow all the rules. And so if we say this and then they put a site plan and I hate it, and it includes outdoor dining, they can do whatever they want, even though I say I don't like it.
So,
or I don't think it fits, or it's
just so you know, we handle a lot of that on our end. When things come before you, before they even get to you, we've already had multiple discussions because we know it's going to block something, or we know it's going to not be appropriate for the code or something along those lines. So I'm not thinking right now on my top of my head where we would not be promoting the outdoor dining if it was blocking or dealing with the public ingress, egress, and handicap accessibility, or we would have an issue with that when
Mr.
we
Mayor.
review the site plan.
Mr. Mayor, I think that is the delineation, right? So, and the last agenda item, you didn't like a design, other people did like a design. That's not really for anyone. You can express it, I like it or I don't like it. There will certainly be guidelines for everything that Stacy just said, though, and staff would handle that before it even got here. So if your outdoor dining is in the street, if your outdoor dining doesn't allow, for accessibility, those are the kinds of things. So I'm not going to sit here and say that you will aesthetically like the things that come in front of you, but but staff's job is to make sure that it logistically works, right? And we figure out how to, make sure everybody can get in and out of it, that kind of a thing. So that's what handles at staff level, right? Aesthetics, I can't really do anything about because that's different for everybody.
Sure. And that's not, I guess, where I was going with that. And I'm concerned about existing. You're saying they're already doing it, but right now they're doing it out of their ability to do so. The existing commercial.
We just we haven't received the complaints to file code enforcement complaints, to take code enforcement action on them.
Okay.
Because again, the code enforcement is complaint driven.
Yeah, I know that.
Okay, just throwing it out.
So this wouldn't be just like willy-nilly, I decided to have a drive-through.
Not drive-through.
I mean, outdoor seating and eating in the Publix parking lot. If I
They
had a
can
to-go truck.
now,
But they still have to go through, or they'd still have to go through the city and the commission, and there's still checks and balances.
Well,
Well,
they
you're not
would-
just gonna tell somebody, oh, yeah, you can do that.
right, they have an existing approval. Public,
Right.
for example, Publix does.
Right.
That would not be in compliance with their existing approval. So we would have to have code enforcement go because it was probably going to be dangerous.
Right.
But if they wanted to bring some of those chairs outdoors underneath the thing that they have
Yeah.
there, they probably could.
Yeah, as long as it's
know.
not dangerous against the code.
Right, or blocking wheelchair access or handicap
Even
access.
if we don't like it.
That's
still do
correct.
it. Yeah,
That's correct.
which sounds fair,
Yeah.
actually, as long as their codes are, they're being.
Yep, they're following the standards.
Yes, following the standards, yes.
And you have seen in your staff
Yes,
report, the
that's it.
4.2 has more standards for on the public properties and on the private properties. Those standards are in there that respond directly to the things I was just saying, which is the accessibility and that thing, and that stuff, so.
Okay,
That makes sense.
would somebody like to make a motion?
I actually had a question, sorry.
Okay.
I know you're in a rush to finish it up, but
You were.
actually, it's funny because I didn't like the outdoor seating for Chipotle, but there's three of us here, and I knew me saying negative wasn't going to make a difference. My concern, similar to Melina, is that the unknown. I think that, yeah, there's existing. Right now, we won't do anything unless someone makes a complaint. But what would happen if this is passed and the commission passes, and then there are people that are, I don't know, near something that shouldn't have outdoor seating, but they're in a commercial zoned area. Do we have any teeth to prevent them from doing so after the fact?
I'm not sure I understand the question.
There are a lot of commercial areas. There's 4 different areas. You have commercial highway, commercial general, commercial central business district, commercial intensive, and commercial automotive. And I know that some of the areas in the last year that have come in that are not even built on follow into those areas. There's a lot of unknowns there for the future, and obviously those will have plans. But for existing commercial properties in those zoned areas, if they decide like, oh, I don't have to worry about getting an okay now, I can just set up chairs or whatever. If it's not complained upon, then there's no teeth for the city to act on it, to make sure that this is in compliance with ADA or anything like that.
Mr. Mayor,
So
I would say if someone makes a complaint, we have plenty of teeth in code enforcement.
right, but if they don't,
the,
what I'm saying is there
Commission has the ability to change the policy also,
correct.
right?
That's what I'm saying is, can we make it a condition of, we'll remove this, but anybody who has existing commercial zoning that decides tomorrow, the day after this is the day after it's passed by commission after 2 readings, that they want to establish that they have to come and get at least an okay. There's nothing we can do on that. We can't put a
Nope.
condition.
Nope.
Then I think the exception exists for a reason, so I would not be okay with it.
Okay. The only thing I would add is that the reason this is coming before us by staff is that the commission has told them basically to get rid of it. But to the manager's point, if the commission decides to change their mind, they can go right back to what we're doing now and ask for the exception to be reinstalled also. Does that make sense?
We're a recommendation board.
Right.
So if we recommend that there's a reason this exception exists, I'm one of those people that the reason exists for a reason, not just because there was a bad person in the back. Like,
I know, but
we're
that-
growing too fast.
I know,
If
but
some
the
is-
signal from the commission
That's
is
fine, then
now
they're not
to
gonna-
get rid of it. you're-
Right, so if there's that signal, what I'm saying is we're recommending that, hey, there's maybe something you're not considering. If they want to vote into that, then they can vote into that. But we are still entitled to say we don't recommend that, right?
Yep.
Fair enough.
Okay. Is there a motion? Somebody want to make a motion? Disapprove the recommendation, approve of the recommendation, approve with conditions are the three options. Approve, disapprove, approve with conditions.
Well, we just were told we can't do any conditions.
No,
I'm sorry.
no,
did I-
you can do. I mean, I'm not quite sure that I follow the whole conversation here. In my mind, the only thing that is changing is that we have to come up with 2 agenda items for someone like Chipotle, right? I'm still going to bring forward an application if I want to have outside dining, I'm still going to put that in the application. This board is going to give their recommendations, but all that's going to happen in one application instead of having to happen in 2. I lived through the board that implemented it, and it was 100% solely based on outside music, right? Those are the kinds of conditions that you can put into the motion. Hey, I'm with this, but I want to make sure that when you develop the standards here, right, we're still thinking of outside music, we're still thinking of accessibility, all those kinds of things. So you can absolutely make just a blanket motion, say, no, we don't like this. You can say, oh, I'd like to, I'll say yes, but these are the things I want to make sure that as those future site plans are coming forward, right, I want you to think about. I mean, if someone put in a complaint on Newberry Jam right now, right, because they have outside dining, right, then code enforcement would go address it. Newberry Jam could have put that into the application. They just didn't know it. I'm not calling them out negatively, right? But I think that's the type of thing that we're talking about right here. Does Newberry Jam have to put that in as a special exception, or can that be just part of the whole process when they first come and bring the application forward? But again, you can vote, say, I don't support this, I do support this, or I will support this under these ramifications, right? Under these conditions.
So my concern is not new places coming in. That's fine. I know that'll be part of the site plan and we can talk about it and you guys will do what you do really well to get it to us. My concern is existing. And when you take that off, it's just a free-for-all, and because
It's
then
been
what?
a free-for-all.
Unless someone complains. But
And we cannot make the condition that if this is passed, that we can.
like
piggyback
everyone
with
just
you
is
to where they would have
grandfathered?
to, they would have to get like clearance from the city, or automatically the city would not have to have a complaint to go follow up on it.
You could say that you would like any business coming forward, doing a change of use or something along those lines, that's not a new project coming to the PZB through our current site and development plan process. We can, when they come in for a building permit to reconstruct the inside or something along those lines, which we already do this. When someone comes in for a building permit, they'll come in, let's use the King of Crabs, for example. If he was gonna have outdoor dining, he would have put that on his site plan to bring forward to, never saw it, because it was one of those ones that went into an existing building. We would have seen on there that he had outdoor dining of some sort. We would have said, well, I'm sorry, but there's no location here. You can have outdoor dining appropriately because you'll be putting it on the sidewalk or in parking spaces. They wouldn't be eligible for it because we already did that review as part of their change of use. We have an internal process right now that the city looks at when existing businesses become new businesses, or when existing businesses expand their businesses, and things like that. We already have that approval, but you could put a condition in there that says staff would have to review any, which we do already, we already changed.
So if,
And do they, oh, sorry.
sorry.
No, go ahead.
So if King of Crabs, we pass this, say, and say we don't need to, and they said, you know what? Now that this isn't an issue anymore, I'm going to put some seats out here. And they do that. There's nothing, then they're compliant and it doesn't matter.
Well, we've already told them they can't have it, so they would be in violation of our own code. We could send Greta out there because we've already told them they couldn't.
And Stacy said it, but I think if, let's take King of Crabs, where they wanted it was kind of a grassy area that was right next to it.
Right next
that
to
would
it,
be a change of use, right? And so
Okay.
you would have to come back and say, I want to change this use, right? If I was the coffee shop that had a porch, that's not really a change of use, right?
Okay.
That's already there. And I'm trying to think of where this would be, because everyone who has official outdoor dining has it already in their permit, right? The ones that have unofficial, the structure lends itself very naturally, like the coffee shop, Newberry Jam, there's a little deck, there's a little porch there, right? Something like the King of Crabs, right? That would be a change of use because you're taking a designated area that was designated for green space, parking, water runoff, and you're changing that use. And you're saying, okay, now, I would also just say that the complaint-driven code enforcement, I've always thought is telling, right? If no one has ever put in a complaint before, then
Is it a complaint?
is it a complaint?
Is it a problem, right?
What if NCB just put chairs out front?
I think they already can.
They
can't
do,
Yeah,
and
and they're-
they can.
Yeah, they can.
That's part of their approval process for their,
I don't understand why we're doing this.
And I think that's why the commission has asked staff to bring this forward is there's,
That's not a minute.
yeah. Many of these, it's already sort of naturally, it's inclined. It's one more step of redundancy for staff to create this agenda item, right? Lump it all together in the initial and say,
it's-
this is what it is.
and then the other thing we've been staff's been tasked with is trying to streamline things and not nickel and dime applicants on things. You know, Chipotle decided to pay the fee for the special exception. They didn't need to, but they decided to. Those are the things where they are paying for a site and development plan, but also then the special exception, turning around $2,000 for the special exception. So not that we're not trying to make money on people, but we don't also need to nickel and dime applicants that are coming forward and doing things. So it's just like he said, it's redundant.
So I wrote something down for your consideration. Approve the process for businesses with existing approve with considerations for businesses with existing outside seating when they seek changes.
Change of use.
Any changes?
And we always, anybody that changes their use goes through a planning, building, water, wastewater review.
And if they don't do that and they just do it on their own without coming to the city, because maybe they don't know.
They're
they
probably
have
going to get a stop work order.
Okay.
That's a building permit thing because they just changed the use.
Especially if they're really trying to build something, then they have to
And
submit
this is
structural
only
plans, building
specific
permits.
to food venues,
Outdoor
right? Food-
dining.
I understand, but I'm assuming the business has to do some type of food or drink prevalent to even have this on their plan, right? We're not going to see somebody else who doesn't serve food or drink. Yes, that's what I'm trying to say. Like I don't want the cement plant to come back and say, oh, now we can do this, and they put a whole bunch of outdoor seating.
They could absolutely do that for their staff. They could absolutely have their staff eating outside.
But not sell.
Not public.
Not for the public.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Like, I don't care. The
They're
staff
already
has
in
one
the
thing.
parking lot.
That would be a change of use. That would be a change.
That would be a change
I'm
of
not
use.
a concrete batch
That's what I'm
anymore
trying
down
to
a
tell you.
restaurant.
When I
Change of
see Stacy, like, I'm not trying to be argumentative. I'm just saying, like, when I see commercial intensive, I'm thinking of industrial things, not like food and so forth. And I understand
No,
that there's
commercial intensive would not be industrial. That would be industrial.
okay, but industrial to me, as someone who, from my upbringing, is cement, piping, fitting, those kinds of.
Which is industrial.
It
That's
is industrial, right?
Absolutely.
So like when we did, a combination of one that was a previously approved property that's further down on 26 that's not been built on, I think is next to DCC. That one was a commercial industrial because of the way that they wanted the plan to go get.
Oh, you're thinking, it's commercial intensive, not industrial.
Oh, sorry.
Okay,
Sorry.
that's where the confusion, no, it's
Oh,
commercial intensive.
Okay. And that one is not included,
That is
correct?
included. You
How
should
many
see
commercial subcategories do we have?
4 or 5.
Because I counted highway, general, business district, commercial. Yeah, commercial intensive is in here.
Yes, not
Okay.
industrial.
Okay.
Commercial- You were calling it commercial
intensive.
industrial.
Okay, and commercial automotive. So that was what I was going to. What if they want to build something that is an automotive right next to outdoor eating? That may be not something that the community would like, or like I said.
That's correct.
So when it comes with the site plan and we see it, and if we recommend that there isn't, the board, obviously the commission can go override that if they want to. But there's nothing in a quasi-judicial based on evidence for us to say we don't like it, because it's not coming in a legislative like, oh, well, we can make our suggestions. And I think that's where I'm hesitant, is that this rule existed for a reason, and we're growing so fast. I would hate for like the one thing that could help a community determine if something's appropriate or not, with the unknown of where things are going, because of, and that's not discounting what your team does. I'm just saying, like, there should still be some type of review. How that review is done in the future, there has to be something with an exception or conditions or something like that. That's where I'm wavering.
I have a question. Is there different regulations when it comes to food trucks and parking lots?
Food trucks, we have a completely
Whole
different
nother thing.
ordinance for all of our mobile vending.
Okay.
Yep.
So you want to approve with conditions for consideration of existing businesses that are doing this whenever they try and make changes to their property? That's what I'm hearing. That's what I'm hearing.
I agree with that.
That's what I'm hearing.
I make a motion for that.
Okay, Ms. Thomas on the motion. Either of you like to make a second on that?
Can you add that the city can actually act on it without complaint
Can we do that?
to the condition?
Thing for the city, right? Versus.
Well, the commission would have to direct us if we're going to be proactively
I think
code
that would
enforcement.
be mixing two separate policies.
Yeah.
So, I mean, I think in the example that you just gave, Board Member Carey, the P and Z and the commission would have the ability to say, no, you can't build industrial up against because there's already a restaurant here. We would separate those two kinds of things, right? I think, or vice versa, right? I think also, if I'm wanting to convert outdoor dining in Florida, I probably want to build a cover. I want to put all of those things are going to precipitate building
Building permit.
permits, inspections, and having this kind of conversation. So I believe that the reason this item is in front of us is because we already have redundancies after redundancies built into the system. And this is one that we should handle like we should have handled tonight. Chipotle should have done their outdoor dining
As
with the
part of
site
their
plan
site
and all
plan.
that as one presentation, and everyone could have said, I like it, I don't like it, I want more. And so that's really all this does, except for the concern about the existing businesses. But I can't think, I've been sitting here racking my brain, I can't think of any existing business that doesn't already have a natural porch, alcove, something like that, that wouldn't have to change the use or build something that would precipitate our involvement again. So, and I hate mixing policies. I think the commission is going to have a conversation because the policy of being a complaint-driven code enforcement is at this point almost 10 years old, and it was instituted as we were beginning code enforcement, and we wanted to have kitten gloves, right? I'm not sure we're there anymore. We're 10 years, we're a decade in, right? And the complaint-driven policy is causing a lot of other ancillary issues like we find ourselves focused on here tonight, right? But I would hate to try to leave it to staff to say where we follow the commission's policies and where we don't follow the commission. I would rather just address the policy, but I don't want to take us off of the topic here tonight.
That's fair. I guess what I'm just trying, my concern is because we're growing so fast, there is things that are unknown. There is a population that will be coming into here that may not be exactly like the current, and they may see a loophole that we are not seeing right now. that I would want there to be some type of tool for our amazing city staff to be able to use. So as long as there's some permitting, I absolutely agree with that part. It's with them doing it without permitting or with an existing, and I don't know every business here or everyone that's with zone commercial and isn't. So I'm tend to be a little bit more conservative on that. As long as there's something in the condition that protects the city and protects the voting public, exactly, because that's my concern. I just don't want them to pop some seating and then some kid gets hurt or whatever, and it's because there was, I just foresee it.
Okay.
So,
Let's get a second, or the motion's going to die for lack of a second. Going once.
Can you repeat the motion exactly for me? What's on the
To
table?
approve the process with consideration for existing businesses when they are moving forward with any kind of changes at their property.
I will second.
Okay. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
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 Motion passes unanimous. All right, number 10, text amendment revisions, small scale rural subdivisions.
Sorry, I'm writing the motion.
Sure.
Oops,
Oops.
too fast. Sorry. Last
Thanks.
item on the agenda this evening is small-scale rural subdivision text amendment. Staff has received one potential application and another one one they've been discussing with us related to the small-scale rural subdivisions. You've seen those in the city. They are Lakota, Barrington, Dillon's Grove, Walker's Ridge is a 5-acre. So we've had a few that have come through the special exception process for small-scale rural subdivision. So the question this evening is, should the Planning and Zoning Board revise the small-scale rural subdivision code related to the following? Allow the small-scale rural subdivisions to be located on state highways, remove the separation requirements between the small-scale rural subdivisions, and we have found a few Scribner's and text enhancement clarity language we might want to change in there, which you have in your underlined and crossed out versions. So currently, the small-scale rural subdivision code text prohibits larger lot subdivisions on state highways and has a separation requirement between the two small-scale rural subdivisions.
Which is what?
1,200 feet, so it's a quarter mile. Additionally, while staff was making changes to the code, we found some language that we thought we could enhance and some Scribner items in your crossed out and underlined version. So the question again is, should the Planning and Zoning Board revise the small-scale rural subdivision code section related to those 3 things I mentioned before? If you feel like that, those are.
Mr. Mayor, can I provide some? So in our comp plan, you have the right to develop 25 homes. It's the only time you get to break the density outside of the urban service area. So there's 3 ways that you can bring the density outside. Small scale rural residential is one of them. But it caps you at 25, right? So 4 or 5, maybe 6 years ago, right, we had someone that came and said, what does this mean, right? And we did not have that written down. We didn't have the small scale rural residential ordinance written down, right? It's in the comp plan, still exists in the comp plan. So we embarked on writing down, what does it mean that a property owner has the right to develop 25 homes on their property outside? And out of that conversation came the commission's desire that they couldn't be smaller than 2-acre lots, right? 2 acres was the minimum. There was an enhanced buffer so that you never really saw the development, right? So it's a really dense buffer, gated community, paved roads. And so the commission all those years ago said, okay, we will tentatively move forward with this under those conditions. We never really focused on you can't hook up to, what's the word? Because it doesn't say a state road. It says like
A main state
Thoroughfare, that's not the word, but it's a little bit vague.
Artery?
It's artery, thank you.
Yeah, with,
A state road, absolutely an arterial road, right?
and maintained by, yes.
Right. Once you get to county collector roads, it's a little bit grayer. However, the point of the enhanced buffer was that you maintained the feel of the green space in the urban service area, so you never knew the houses were back there. And that is pretty much what Lakota and Barrington have today, right? They have the deep buffer. You drive by, you don't see them there. Those are beautiful developments. They're, the lots themselves are multiple hundreds of thousands of dollars. The homes are very, very nice. Again, it's a gated community. It's a paved road. So concerns about dirt roads and those kinds of things, they don't really apply. So the idea that you can't have this on a state road doesn't make a whole lot of sense, because I think you want to encourage these kinds of developments. To the second, which is they can't connect, right?
They can't be, they have to, there's separation between the two.
They have to be that separation. So if let's say I have 200 acres and I want to sell 100 acres to this person, another 100 acres to somebody else, or I want to do it myself, I still am capped at that 25. So in my mind, we generally want to encourage connectivity, roadway connectivity. And so I'm not quite sure where this stipulation came in, because it forces these things to separate. And in my mind, we would love to see a whole area of small scale rural residential, because those are 2 acre lots you can have, like, I think Barrington ended up being closer to 3, or maybe it was Lakota ended up being closer to 3.
3, yes.
You can have higher, but you can only go down to 2. So these were 2 things that don't make a whole lot of sense in practice once we got through, and then the Scrivener's error. So that's the context of why this is coming to you. The point of the buffer is so that you don't see it. If I can't see it, then I don't know why I can't allow it, because I'm going to drive up and down Newberry Road and I'll never know until I get to the gate. And then I'll see, I wonder what's back there, right? And then why we wouldn't encourage these things, because my argument, and this is always up for debate, is once a development like this happens, a development like Avalon Woods will never happen. Because once you have this, you will have 2 acre, spread out, and no one will be able to afford to come in and buy up $400 million homes to put together and tear them all down and build high density.
So let's tackle these kind of piecemeal, I guess. The Scrivener's errors, everybody's fine with fixing that, I assume, right? Yes? Okay, all right, so that one's fine. What about along state roads? It certainly would reduce the large-scale developments, potentially along those corridors. It does change the dynamics a little bit more for people who have smaller pieces along the state road corridors. Are there any other real pros and cons? The manager already listed a couple of pros to allowing the connectivity, but are there a couple things that we might be missing?
No, the only thing that staff was trying to go back and recreate why that was the case, it
Yeah.
was
I'm struggling to remember why.
they were lower intensity neighborhoods, and having them off of county roads versus having them off of state roads was the only thing I could come up with, is because it was a lower intense use or subdivision on a county or city road versus a state highway.
In an area that may not be considered highest, best use from our standpoint, but
And just so you know too, on the state roads, the FDOT already has separation requirements that we don't impose on anybody because we're not that agency. They already are required to separate quite a distance as it is. So that's why we figured that between removing the separation, that's not really, especially if we're going to allow them on the state road, that's not our jurisdiction to regulate, and they have a fairly big
so along
gap.
along the state roads kind of cancels out the separation part for us, it sounds like. But what is your feeling about whether or not they would be allowed along state roads? Just in and of themselves.
I had some thoughts. So we're trying to push more of our growth in the bigger intensity to those state roads,
Mm-hmm.
right? We want them kind of out in the front until we're getting further away from town.
Yep.
And we're trying to do that green buffer
Mm-hmm.
space as you go in or out, or however you want to look at it. So then my concern would be if we push this forward and then the intensity that we're looking for up on those.
Hang on one second. This is only allowed outside of the urban service area. So what you're talking about is inside the urban service
this is
area.
outside.
This is
Yes.
outside. This is one of the 3 ways that you can do something outside of the urban service area.
Okay.
So we're not talking about inside the urban service area. Totally different.
Thank you for clarifying, because that makes a big difference.
Well, they technically could be in the ag.
I would love to see them happen in the outer edges of
Yeah.
inside the urban service
Yeah.
area. I think that
Where
that
we're
would be
trying to
great.
have that green space, I think
Right.
that's a great fit.
Right, we've been talking about a couple different zoning districts that we have that are more rural in nature, and, you know, saying, okay, these are allowed here, these are allowed here. And as part of the land development code rewrite, we're gonna be presenting some of those, we're gonna be creating some different zoning districts and combining some zoning districts. And this is one of those areas that will probably be utilizing the code.
I'm not sure I hammered this point home, but a gated community with paved roads, when you're limited and capped at 25, that dictates that you're talking about high end.
Oh, yeah,
'Cause the
that's-
only way the developer's getting that money back is that these are
Expensive houses.
Right.
That's correct, because even if someone comes through and does a straight residential zoning of 5 acres, we cannot require the paved roads, we cannot require the gated community. The 5 acre, even though they're larger lots, we don't have a mechanism to require those things, whereas the small scale, where it's kind of a yin and yang, you give them a little, they make a little bit better product, in essence.
They have HOAs on those?
We require all subdivisions going forward to have HOAs.
Okay,
Doesn't matter.
okay.
We don't want to be code enforcement for all these residential neighborhoods.
Kathy?
No.
do you-
Exactly.
I had one question. So.
Hold on, Melina, were you done? Okay.
Oh,
good.
sorry. Kathy, did you have a question? Oh, no, I'm sorry. Didn't mean to jump ahead. So the one thing I was noticing, and I realize now that it was just the strike through, but some of people in our community, we're not an HOA community, have higher than 6-foot fences for privacy purposes, or they're hiding their boat so that they don't get fined because of our ordinances. Would that be an omission that's permitted? Because I'm seeing in here, it just says 6 feet, but it doesn't say exceed regarding fencing.
6-foot fence is the requirement.
Yeah, that's the requirement, but it doesn't say you can, it says shall not 6 feet in height. So I don't know if that was a
Shall not
typo.
exceed, I may have missed exceed.
Yes.
When I did the
So
Scrivener.
GV dot, G5, I guess. Perimeter fences and walls shall not 6 feet in perimeter. So I was.
Exceed.
I was assuming exceed.
Yes.
Okay.
I
So
will
is there
make
an
that
exception when you're
change.
hiding a boat?
Nope. Most of these folks have massive pole barns that they have all their equipment nicely under and screened in because of just the look of the neighborhood. If you
Got it.
drive through either of them, you'll see what I'm talking about.
These are just for outside the urban service area, so this wouldn't apply to anybody
No,
currently?
this
Okay.
is not just outside the urban service area. This is for ag zoned properties.
Okay.
That's the only ones that can apply for small scale rural subdivision.
Okay.
Doesn't matter. They have to be,
Got it. Thank you.
they have to be, they
Okay.
have to meet our
So on the
requirements.
matter of state road, being on state roads, gonna have a head nod, yes or no on that? It's okay, all right. On the matter of separation, which is effectively, I'll repeat, immaterial when it comes to a state road because of FDOT's requirements. But how about our own requirements, I guess, would
So
be-
this is basically, there's 2 ag properties, and they both want to switch to small ag residential.
Do a special exception, which comes to you.
That we are also going to require them to have a 1/4 mile separation between the 2 subdivisions?
That's what the current code requires.
I think that was somewhat of a theory of trying to, again, preserve the nature of what's
green
going
space.
on and trying to keep the look of the ag by creating the separation. But it does seem a little duplicitous if we've already got the
They're
gates and we
already
already
big
got
lots.
the, we already got the buffers and we already got the greenery in the front
And these-
already.
Exactly, and these are only permitted where you're completely surrounded by ag. So there can't be any commercial, there can't be any other type of zoning other than ag around you. So the separation by default on the state roads is determined by FDOT. These separation requirements that we had in here were when they're on city and county roads. And even the county has their, depending on where the small scale is, if it's on a county road, they also have their separation requirements. We thought it was just a double redundancy. And then if you remove it from the state roads, then the FDOT, and the FDOT's differentiation is, or separation is quite large.
I'm good with taking that personally, because, I mean, we already do buffers and there's already big lots and green space, so.
Okay. So we have agreement on correcting the Scrivener's errors, eliminating the, or allowing for them to be on state roads, and eliminating any local requirement for separation. Do you need that in the form of a motion?
I think you just did it.
Okay. Do we need a formal motion?
No, I
Motion.
think you
Made.
just did it.
I'll do it. Motion.
Okay. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Okay, you got it formally. Parker and Thomas on the second.
Got it.
Okay, that's all of our hearings and ordinance, nothing under agenda items, topics for members. Let's start here to my immediate right. Ms. Carey. You got anything?
I wanted to thank Life Soil for their a lovely contribution to our community.
Did you try it?
Yes, and I will be happy to report after the wonderful rain, thank God gave us this weekend, my lovely bald patches on my lawn that I spread it on is growing and sprouting grass. So
That's literally like 2 days.
I am not kidding you. I literally took pictures and I was
Holy
blown away. There's like now we had a good lawn beforehand, but I'm like super excited because if you guys don't know, I've been having an armadillo that's been destroying the 4 lots on our street for the last 2.5 months, and we have not been able to catch him. So
Don't worry, he's waiting.
command works. So
Okay.
thank you, Ryan. May the 4th be with you for giving that for us. And then I didn't get to say in the last meeting, but as someone who suffered 3 years in a row of fires, I wanted to thank all of the first responders and forest rangers that are handling all the multiple fires. There was even another one that went up today, and it's just been aggravating all of our sinuses and all that. So please keep them in your prayers along with our troops. Thank you.
Ms. Thomas.
Watermelon Festival, May 16th. Please come on out. I'm advertising the shirt tonight. if you
I
want to
see
the
that.
look of it.
Yes.
We're piggybacking
Give us
with
a
the
spin. Give us a
with the
spin.
city.
Yeah, stand up,
everybody.
everybody.
Look at that.
Patriotic.
So nice.
250th. Happy birthday to the United States and 81 years for us. And also, very important, this week coming up, or this week that we're in, is Teacher Appreciation Week. So please appreciate your teachers, your paras, aides, especially media people. They're really busy this time of year. Like, just reach out and say thank you. They're doing God's work. That's all I can say. They're amazing. They're very amazing. So please thank a teacher. And as always, like, God bless our troops too, so.
Thank you. Ms. Parker?
All right. So going off of the Watermelon Festival, the Newberry Historical Association will be out there with a tent. We have a basket raffle giveaway for the day and a membership drive going on. So no membership fees for the first year until April, May of next year, and then we'll start charging fees. But there's a couple tiers, and we tried to make it really reasonable on what we're asking. So stop by our tent, say hi, learn more about what we're doing and our plans for the future, and hopefully we'll see everyone out there.
Mr. Manager?
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. I just wanted to take a moment to publicly say thank you to Newberry Ridge, the Northfleet family, the as yet to be named development to the north. It has taken a lot of work and communication between a lot of folks to get that spine road from Southwest 30th to up to 26. I know that Board Member Carey thanked them. I just wanted to tap onto that. And I also just want to remind everybody that Newberry built 189 houses last year, not 1,500 or 2,000 or 3,000. It was a very, very reasonable 189. So,
Ms. Attorney, any from the public? Come on down.
Daniel Thomas. I wanted to also extend Archer Historical Society has a train day on the 9th, which will be, I believe, Saturday this week. So if you have a chance, go out, check it out. As our partner historical association, I wanted to do a little plug. So that's all.
Very good. The only thing I'll have to say is echo what these fine ladies said. Very good conversation tonight. This could have easily been a 10 o'clock night. But I appreciate everybody keeping their comments relevant and also addressing all of our concerns for the commission. So with that, we are
I'm
almost
so
adjourned.
close. I just
Almost
also
adjourned.
wanted to say thank you to community development. They put on 2 workshops this weekend, Friday night and Saturday morning. They basically lived here all weekend. Great conversations, and I appreciate the effort.
And all day today.
All right. We are adjourned.